Welcome, Dr. James Beckett, Sports Card Insights. Thanks, sponsors, Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, Heritage Auctions, Huggins Scott Auctions, Mike Stadium Sports Cards, Burbank Sports Cards, ComC.com, and Beckett Media, Beckett Rating, Beckett Authentication. So the news around here still remains in the basketball world in Dallas. News about Luka. People are still really upset. I was at the show last weekend, and I think Luka sold well. I don't know that anybody's dumping him, but he's moving. I think it could actually be good for his career that he'd be with the Lakers, and we'll see how they do this year. But again, the show was very strong. Was very strong. So there was a large attendance, crowded aisles. All the days I was there, I wasn't there on Sunday, but Thursday was big. Friday was really, really big. Saturday was huge with the room was packed, and then there were autograph signers, hundreds of them, or autograph, requesters. The autograph line was 300 people long. So the hobby is doing well, and sometimes the controversy is not a bad thing. So it was a bad thing for the Mavs, I think. I've had many people say I'd rather lose with Luka than win without him. I'm not sure that's quite true. But because Luka is just one guy, he's a great, great player, but he's not going to be here forever. And that's part of the theme of this episode is that the greatest, the guy that may be the greatest, certainly in the discussion, LBJ, LeBron James, has changed teams several times now. I mean, he's been on his, third team, but he's had four different changes from going from the Cavs to the Heat to back to the Cavs, back to the Lakers. And that's probably his final resting place. Luka, we thought he was going to be like Dirk, and that's the problem. So at any rate, I was at the show that was coming up. And then on Sunday, I was at a family event, and I won't out the person, but was just talking about how, what was going on. And he was saying something like, that he likes to watch rants on the internet where I guess it's more of a YouTube thing. I guess you're screaming at the camera about some injustice. And so I was just saying, well, I wonder if we could create something through AI that would express that would be interesting to watch. Now I thought, well, I'll just do an audio. And so right on the spot there, I did a prompt to ChatGPT, and I said, write, and this is my first and only prompt, I said, write 200 words as if it's coming from a crazed, schizophrenic Mavs fan discussing the Luka fiasco. Okay, so that's all I said. And how long did I wait? About 5 seconds. I waited about 5 seconds, and it spit out to me 200 words. Now I'm going to read the 200 words, and it's going to point out the problem, part of the problem with AI. Most of the AI large language models were trained on data sets from a year or two ago. I've heard 2 years. And so they don't always have the latest info, but they talk a great game at ChatGPT. So this was, I think, ChatGPT 4.0. So, it's, you're hoping it's good quality, but just in reading it off to you very quickly, I think you'll see that there's a few goof ups that you'll recognize, I recognize, and it just says, it's like trust but verify if you use an AI. I use AI to summarize my episodes, but that's not searching the internet. It's taking the episode that I've just recorded and transcribed and then condensing it. It's condensing my words, not blending anything in. But anytime you search the whole internet and try to come back with an answer, you can get misinformation too. So, okay, here's the rant. And I'm not going to do it as a rant, but just imagine. And I'm going to cut out and do some asides because when a mistake is made, I just want to, I'll say stop or something. Okay, so first of all, here goes, 200 words. It says, okay, starting. Man, I swear this whole Luka situation is making my head spin in ways I can't even explain. 1 minute he's the golden boy, the future, the next dirt, and now, ? Now the front office is fumbling so bad it feels like sabotage. You ever get the feeling Cubans playing 4D chess? Okay, and a quick aside, It's not Cuban anymore. So AI does not know that the Adelson family, and I think it's Patrick Dumont, is new the governor. And so it's not Cuban. In fact, Cuban would not have done this. So AI already is thinking. So anyway, he's saying, get the feeling Cuban's playing 4D chess, four-dimensional chess, but he's blindfolded and using checkers pieces. Okay, that's a disrespect to Mark Cuban, who's a very bright guy, and I think was a good owner for the Mavs. Okay, so back to the rant. That's where I'm at. The voices in my head are debating if they're tanking this on purpose or just straight up incompetent. Okay, quick aside. Remember, I didn't say about Luka being traded. I just said the Luka fiasco. So I didn't give the details. The Mavs aren't trying to tank. Nico claims he's trying to make the team better and better sooner. There may be some incompetence there, at least in the ability to gauge the opinions of the fans, who are very important. Okay, back to the rant. Luka's out here dropping 40-point triple-doubles like it's a casual Tuesday, and they surround him with what? A bunch of inconsistent role players. Kyrie's cool when he's healthy, but did anyone ask if Luka even wanted him? They've had years to build a real contender around him, and all they've got is a revolving door. Okay, another aside. First of all, again, this is a rant from a schizophrenic AI person. I think Luka had, as some of the years, there were inconsistent role players, and you can know from their card values. I mean, how many other guys have very much demand? Well, Anthony Davis will in the deal. PJ Washington, not a lot of respect in the hobby. Kyrie, probably not a lot of respect for his own championship and how he's done. But did anyone ask if Luka even wanted Kyrie? I think Luka has really, really enjoyed playing with Kyrie and vice versa. And, they're not doing too bad. They got to the conference finals and the NBA finals in the last 3 or 4 years, what that was. And so I don't know that it's a revolving door. And if it was a revolving door, Nico was doing a great job up until this point. And then he dumped Grimes. Yeah, he dumped Grimes. Okay, back to the rant. I can already see it. He's going to leave and they'll act shocked. The front office will gaslight us, tell us they did everything they could. I've seen this script before and I can't unsee it now. My brain won't let me. If they let Luka walk, I'm done. No, really, I'm done. And then parenthetically, it finishes with until preseason at least. Okay, now this is very double-minded. But first of all, again, AI's gotten it wrong. Luka didn't leave. On the other hand, Luka could have left. And that's the problem in the hobby. And there's been discussion on other podcasts about if you're a player collector, are you also a team collector or vice versa? And so if somebody leaves your team, did they leave your PC? Are you no longer going to collect that team? Or are you going to pick up with that player with the Lakers? And so Luka did not walk, although there are conspiracy theories that he kind of knew this was going on, that he wasn't, that there were vibes that he was going to walk. And frankly, if he would have played it out one more year and then not re-upped with his supermax, and maybe not even accepted one of these sign and trades, the players that do the sign and trades, they're basically signing and then getting traded, but they're getting traded to a team that's going to then be depleted because part of the sign and trade is to sign the player to the supermax, to the more preferred contract. I think you can still do that. And then trading that person, trading Luka, and then getting back some really good players from the team he's going to, which decreases their chances. So what LeBron did back, whatever that was, 10 or 15 years ago, when he went originally to the Heat, it was to win championships. And he picked his team. And they did win. They didn't win as many as he said. But I'm not a big fan of ring shopping, going around. And I don't. So Luka, again, this AI has it wrong, but maybe not if it would have been a year later. A year later, Luka was, I think, a little bit above the law in the sense that he had his own training methods. and he had his own, kind of beverages and stuff like that. And they're saying that in a negative way now, but the point is he was special. He was special, mostly good. And so sometimes when you're a superstar, you put up with that. Now, maybe he's going to prove everybody wrong, and this will light a fire under him to be even greater with the Lakers, which would be very disappointing. Let's see. So I think Luka, I don't think they traded him because he was out of shape. I think they traded him because they thought they weren't going to be able to keep him, or they weren't going to be able to really win with him for whatever reason, that he would, just like LeBron was trying to be the GM in his last years in that first Cleveland stint, and he was angry at the owner. And again, this is not, it's no longer Mark Cuban, who's a true basketball guy. It's just like, I've said it before, that people in the hobby, if you've got somebody running the hobby company that is not in the hobby, to me, that's a negative. There's some really sharp people out there, but get somebody sharp that understands the hobby too. Mark Cuban really understood basketball and was a passionate owner. So yeah, I think this is going to be good for Luka. AI's got it all wrong. Unless they know something we don't know. And that is something. AI does not know anything that is not already known. I guess you could get them to speculate, or they could draw from some large group of data that this is the consensus. But even that is not fully, I believe, fully to be trusted. So I think the championship demands, maybe Luka was not happy, although like I said, I thought they were putting a good team on the floor. If everybody was healthy this year, I thought they had a really good chance. And to blow it up, and again, Cuban did that in 2012 when after they won with Dirk, and that was unfortunate as well. So I guess I'm crying over spilt milk. We can't turn the clock back. Luka, I think, will be coming back to town for the Laker game that's next month. And I don't know. I think people will be there. I hate to imagine that passion will turn to rage, and people will be booing him because I think they're liable to cheer him. And he was so much fun to watch. But I'm keeping my season tickets, and I'm not dumping Luka cards. He's going to stay on my wall. But the other thing is the Laker uniform cards that'll be coming out. If there's any game use stuff or just anything with a Luka, that is not unprecedented in the hobby for many, many years. Back even in the 70s, the 80s, if somebody had Roger Maris goes from the Indians and the A's to the Yankees, his Yankee cards are better. If you get to a better franchise, or you get a debut card, your first card in the new uniform, there's extra demand for that. So be on the lookout for that. And the other conspiracy theory I heard is he might want to play with Wemby. And I'm wondering if LeBron retired at the end of the year, and then Luka said, "Hey, I want to go. I'm going to be a free agent, and I'm just going to go." And like I said, I think there's something wrong with that system. And yet, when I had a company, I didn't have anybody with a 5-year contract, and I didn't have anybody with signing bonuses. And occasionally people left, and sometimes they left and went to not competitors, but other companies in the industry. And I got no compensation in return. I just want to be on the record for that. When Grant went to Upper Deck, Scott Pruscia went to Panini, or the predecessor, I got no compensation, but I wished them well. There were no hard feelings. And a number of others that I could think of too. So it's just tough. It's just tough. So I'm sad for the Mavs. I'm happy for Luka. Anything that keeps people in the news. Again, the optimism is eternal within the hobby, but there's a lot of pessimism in the Dallas franchise right now, and again, I don't know what to say. I don't want to turn it into a rant. But like I said, this was a Luka fiasco. It was the way it was handled before, during, and after. And yet, if they'd have traded Luka for 6 draft picks, I can't go to the Mavs games and watch the draft picks. If they're over the next so many years. So anyway, that's it. Have a good time, everybody. Again, the show was terrific. Well done, Kyle. and Luka was a part of that in absentia. So thanks, everybody. Be back again in a couple days, another episode.